Tim Miller, also, though, somebody who has no decorum, who thinks that people in the Senate should be able to wear whatever baggy gym shorts that they want. Let's do it.
We'll do the government shutdown later. Let's do this right now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Next Level. I'm JVL here with my best friends, Sarah Longwell and Tim Miller of the Bulwark. Quick reminder, this channel is going away if you are a YouTube watcher. If you're listening to it on a podcast machine, on Stitcher, perhaps, that's an inside joke, then you don't have to do anything. It's going to be fine. If you're a YouTube watcher, you got to go and subscribe to the main Bulwark channel. Just mash that. It's right
Even
there.
If you're not a YouTube watcher, really, you should be subscribed to the main Bulwark YouTube channel.
And also, a heads up, the focus group is coming back this Saturday. Best friend Sarah Longwell.
Focus group podcast dropping Saturday. First guest.
Do you have any people who sound like Cletus?
I will say no.
Oh, good.
But I will say it is a big mashup of the summer focus groups, because we never stopped doing the groups, just doing the show.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, can't stop, won't stop. So with the first one, our guest is Jake Tapper for our inaugural guest, which was great because we got to get into the fact that because it's about the indictment. It's all the sound from the various indictments and people's reactions. And so we get into sort of how does the media deal with this, because the amplification has obviously helped Trump. And so it's a really interesting, great start to the new season.
And is the second guest more or less handsome than Jake Tapper?
The second guest to talk about all the also-rans is my pearl-wearing friend Tim Miller.
So more handsome.
Oh, how interesting. Okay, great.
You'll be on the show, guys. You'll all be on the show, JVL. Do you know how many requests I get for just, like, some people, like, offer me money to just let you sit and moderate a focus group and talk to real people?
That is going to be the champagne room tier for the Bulwark. We're going to be rolling it out very soon. And what it is, it's going to be a little expensive, a little pricey. But did you see the movie Saw? Because what we'll do is we'll put the focus group people into a Saw room, and I am Jigsaw. And as they tell me their thoughts about politics and the world around them and whether or not inflation is way up and whether or not they can afford eggs, then I will devise some horrible way of murdering them.
This is why no matter how much money people offer me, my answer is always no.
Okay, Tim, you got a surprise for us. I don't know what it is. Let me hear.
Yeah, I'd like to start out with a couple personal items, personal privilege. They're related to politics, and they're surprises for both of you and for the audience. And they're kind of related to your newsletter today, actually, JVL, which is why I thought it'd be good to start here. The first one, I was in New York this week. I was staying in a hotel. I don't know about you. Do you guys? I didn't. Do you guys get weird dreams when you stay in hotels? Are more vivid dreams than when you're in your own bed? Maybe that's just me.
No.
I get very vivid dreams on the road. And I woke up in a cold sweat on Tuesday morning in the middle of the night in a Hilton Garden Inn in New York because the UN was in town and everything was very expensive. And I realized that I'd been dreaming like a resistance porn dream about the fact that Donald Trump was about to become the president again. And I was like on a bus and we were like on a mission, and I was with Bulwark people and other journalists, and we were starting. And so like the dream is kind of corny and it's kind of weird. But as I laid there in bed, I was like, my subconscious has really been kind of processing the fact that Donald Trump might be president again, and now it's like showing up in my dreams. Like, I've been started denying this reality as possible, and it's been showing up in my subconscious. So I was thinking about what can I do to kind of help myself process this. Okay, this relates to item 2. And that is when I decided to move to New Orleans, the first thing we did before we found Tulissa's school, before we did anything, we identified when the Beyonce tour was stopping in New Orleans. And that is next Wednesday. That is next Wednesday evening, September the 27th. We purchased tickets before we purchased a home. We were very excited about this. We love Beyonce. Big Frida, who is on her record, is from New Orleans. It's the tour closer. It's going to be so exciting. And then a couple of weeks ago, I've been keeping this inside. I noticed that the second Republican debate was scheduled for that same evening. And I was mourning this. I was mourning it. I was saying, I can't believe I'm going to miss this for this fucking second debate. And after I had that dream, I was like, I need to do something for me. And so, friends, I'm not going to be watching the second Republican debate. The first one did not matter. The second one does not matter. It is on Fox Business. And I'm going to go to Beyonce, and I'm going to wear a very slutty outfit, and I'm going to wear face things. I'm going to get in costume. And I guess maybe I'll come home and watch a replay of it. I don't know. But I'm doing this for me. And it's just one small step. I know that I owe the listeners and our Bulwark Plus subscribers, like, they want to hear what I think about things. I get that. But, we all need to process like the horribleness of the next 13 months in our own way. And I'm not taking this joy away from myself. If Donald Trump might be the fucking president again, I'm not taking this joy away from myself to watch Vivek and Nikki Haley fight over who's at 6%. Like, I'm not going to do that.
For the champagne room tier of Bulwark Plus membership, you are going to, from your phone, zoom in for literally 3 minutes from wherever you are, from the arena, from the street outside, with the face stuff, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means, with your slutty costume.
It's like face
I don't
jewels.
know what that means either.
I'm going to wear face jewels.
And you're just going to, as lit up as you are, you're going to just give us 2 minutes on how the concert was.
I will do that. I'm glad. I'd be happy to do that. And so that part is more. It's funny, but it's also shtick, but it's true. The second debate doesn't matter. So I don't know why I would change this, but it is related to the first part, which is serious, which is your newsletter, JBL, which is like, this is like
Tim,
really
you
happening.
Read it. Sarah, did you read it?
This is really happening. It's not even out yet.
It's
not out yet,
Sarah.
Sarah.
I was just taping Hacks on Tap right before this.
It's
I haven't
not even
read
out.
anything.
Don't let him bully you. It's not even out yet. He sent it to me for my thoughts. And I was like, oh my God, this newsletter is right in line with what I was laying in bed in the middle of the night thinking about. It's like, we have to accept this. Like, this is really happening. And I think that it will, to move to a more serious note from Beyonce, I think that it explains a little bit of the increased angst that I'm seeing among the pro-democracy coalition. There's a little bit of infighting happening right now. People are mad. Like, there are certain people that want to raise red flags about Joe Biden. Certain people are mad that people want to raise red flags about Joe Biden. Certain people want to do this and want to do that. And they want to argue about strategy. And maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. And I think part of that angst is related to the fact that, like, everyone is at the same time processing the fact that, like, this is fucking really could happen. Like, this lunatic could really be the president again. And so I think that we should have a little bit of grace with each other as everyone kind of figures out the right approach. Sarah obviously is going to have the best approach because she has the most data to figure it out. But that is going to include what the right approach is for defeating him politically, but also what the right approach is for all of us not losing our fucking minds between now and next November. So that's where I wanted to start.
Sarah, what do you think the odds are that he's president?
45%.
Yeah, and so how are you doing with that mentally? Let's talk about this. Like, I'm your therapist.
Yeah, I mean, look, I deal with this stuff the way I've always dealt with it, which is to try to figure out what can I control in this situation, right? And I am spending my time, and I'm not, no judgment. I think Beyonce concerts are great, but I am getting in front of every person that I can get in front of to say, Donald Trump can legitimately win. You've got to start reckoning with this. I'm spreading anxiety, actually, because I'm like, you got to start reckoning with this. We need a strategy. Too. It's going to be harder this time because people can't project their hopes and dreams onto Joe Biden. He's got a record to contend with that, despite JBL's protestations, is not as popular as you'd want, considering the danger that Donald Trump represents. And there's a bunch of exogenous events that could happen around health. I become very queasy, not because I think one way or another about Kamala Harris. I just listen to voters express, swing voters especially, when you say Trump or Biden, and they say Biden, you say Biden or DeSantis, and they say Biden, you say Kamala or Trump, and they go, That is just a reality that I hear from swing voters. Okay, so I can't. There's nothing to do, but I can't do anything but listen to the voters and hear what they're saying. And then, so that's how I manage my anxiety. I manage my anxiety by, I shut down Republican voters against Trump because I thought we weren't going to need it again. We will build an army of Republicans and Republican voices talking about why Trump is unfit to be the president. We will do everything we can to persuade people. I'm going to talk to everybody about why no labels should not be part of the equation in 2024 because they are deeply dangerous and will reelect Donald Trump. And so, like, I'm going to do what I can to control the situation. And then what I can't control...
Your dreams.
You know, it's like my dreams. It's like, literally, it's the AA prayer.
Yep.
God can't grant me the serenity to change the things I can and not the ones I can't.
I don't
and
think
the
that's how
wisdom
the
to know
AA
the difference.
prayer
I don't know. I'm not actually an alcoholic, so I don't know. But
Okay, that's good. I'm for all that, by
Well-
the way, and Beyonce. I'm just saying that for people that it's a long slog, and we might need to. Some of us might process things differently and want to do the things we can to change, while also, not waking up in a cold sweat every night.
All right. So I want to talk a little bit about the Kristen Welker interview on Meet the Press. I want to table the entire, was it a good or a bad interview? Because I think I've already curb stomped Will on that, and I don't want to do
You're just
anymore.
not gonna. You're not gonna bitch shit. You're just moving on, Pat. Like, you're just steamrolling over your feelings and this newsletter where you're talking about how you're gonna find peace in your heart with the fact that Donald Trump is going to turn our great American experiment on its head. You're just going to steamroll right past that. You're like, we're going to talk about this another week, and I'm just going to focus on my domination of Will in the Kristen Welker debate.
All right. I'll give you this. I'll give you 30 seconds. I have come, possibly through my practice,
Yoga practice.
to
Namaste.
a place of peace and acceptance on this, because I can see a world in which there were a number of exogenous events that impacted Donald Trump becoming elected president again, right? In which Joe Biden was the second coming of Jimmy Carter, in which unemployment was at 7%, or he just bumbled away his entire presidency, or even in which during the first Trump term, the grown-ups had all basically kept him under control, and there were some mean tweets and a lot of norm breaking, but nobody really got a peek as to how
trains were
bad.
still running on time.
Right. Nobody saw what it would have looked like if the car, the wheels had come off the car. And instead, what we've had is, again, just objectively, a very successful first presidential administration. Just objectively, an economy which is pretty good. Maybe you won't go all the way to hey, things are actually quite good, as Noah Smith would. But again, things are pretty good. Can you find some problems? Yes. Can you find problems in every economy? Absolutely. Joe Biden has not been Jimmy Carter. And we are in a world where unemployment is quite low. Inflation is coming down. Real wages are up. Jobs are being created. America is at peace. Our alliances are strong. And our enemies are feeling it, right? Russia, not a great place to be right now. China, got a lot of concerns. And if facing all of this and seeing unemployment was at 13% when Donald Trump left office. 13%. He attempted a coup. He committed a number of alleged felonies in broad daylight, in front of us all. And if seeing all of this stuff, again, an extra 300,000 Americans died because of his just inject yourself with bleach, I refuse to be photographed wearing a mask stuff. If Americans are going to look at this and say, yeah, I think I'd like that guy again, then honestly, is there anything that any of us could have done? Here's how I liken it. If you go to somebody and you say, would you like a watermelon or an apple? And they say, I think I'd prefer the watermelon. It would not be unreasonable to say,
that's a
how
smart
about an
choice.
orange? Right? What if I offer you an orange or a watermelon? Well, maybe they would take the orange, right? I mean, these are both foods, and maybe you could say, well, if we had given them a different choice or a better choice, they would. If you offer somebody a grenade or an apple and they pick the grenade, changing that to an orange isn't going to do anything. They just want the grenade. And so
So you're finding peace. Okay, great.
Finding
This
peace
was
in all of
important. This
this.
is why I wanted you to say that, just because we don't need to rehash our fight about the economy like we did last week. We'll have another opportunity to do that. But just in summary, I am dealing with the prospect of a Donald Trump presidency by avoidance and attending Beyonce concerts and, trying to maintain work-life balance. You, JVL, you are dealing with it by just accepting that there's nothing that you could possibly do to change it, and that the great and good American people might just want a
It's like
grenade.
hearing that an asteroid is coming for planet
and
Earth.
Sarah,
right? What are you going to do?
are
It'll hit
processing
us or
this.
it won't.
You are processing this by trying to do everything you possibly can in your soul to move things 1 inch the right direction. I think those are all reasonable. Sarah's probably the best of us as usual, but I just wanted to kind of say that. And so if the listeners, all of them, if you all are processing this different ways, you kind of choose your own adventure. Anyway, now you can talk about your victory against Will Salatin.
I don't want to do that. So I want to talk about Trump's abortion comments on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. He says, we're going to agree to a number of weeks or months or however you want to define it. However you, the people, want to define it.
Fortnights.
And both sides are going to come together, and both sides, and this is a big statement, both sides will come together. And for the first time in 52 years, you'll have an issue that we can put behind us. That sounds amazing. I want to live there. Asked about whether DeSantis' 6-week abortion ban is too far, Mr. Trump replied, I think what he did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake. This is highly interesting. And I think, well, I don't know. You know what? I'll tell you what I think later. Sarah, what do you think?
I think that this is where Trump is going to be. Frankly, JVL, you said this is exactly how he would respond. I'm not sure. Somebody should go back and pull JVL's imitation of Trump on abortion, because Trump got so like it'll be perfect. It'll be the best compromise. It's like exactly
Everyone
where he
will
landed.
be so happy because that's how abortion politics have traditionally worked in America.
People are happy at the end. Yeah.
And I do think he'll get his way on this. I think this is a better issue for Donald Trump than well, there's a few things going on here. One, he's already running for the general election. Like, that's clear, right? He is trying to stake out a position that is not. He's willing to like roll the dice for a little bit, maybe of shaving off of Republican voters or base voters, evangelicals, whatever, because he's making a general election play. That said, I also don't think he's going to see a big shave off of voters. I mean, this is like the freak out from the anti-antis, or like Eric Erickson was like, this is really going to hurt him, or like A.G. Hamilton, or this is, wow, he just doesn't even know what he's stepped in here. Are you guys insane? Where have you been for 8 years? The only surprising thing about what he just said is that you are surprised by it. He and with voters, this is to go back to an oldie but goodie for me. His relationship with the voters is deep. Other people's relationship with the voters, DeSantis, whatever, it's shallow, right? They don't care. These guys have been in the tank for Trump. They have fought for him over Thanksgiving dinners. They've lost friends over him. These are sunk costs. And if you think that him saying, frankly, the most popular position on abortion is going to cost him this primary, give me some of what you're smoking.
Yeah. It's a cult. And it's also a cult, right? It's religious in nature, right? It's like the Catholic Church thing when, the priests were diddling boys and the news came out about that. And like you expected people not to show back up in church on Sunday? You expected people to think that their priest was a boy diddler? No, like it was part of their identity. It's part of their relationship. It was hard. Some people in the church processed it. Some people got mad. Some people ignored it, pretend like it didn't happen. Many people ignored it, pretend like it didn't happen. Many people said the media is out to get us because of our faith. Like, people aren't going to get mad at Donald Trump. Like, Donald Trump is their Jesus. He's the orange Jesus. They're not going to get mad at him over the 9-week thing. Unfortunately for Ron DeSanctimonious and Nikki Haley and the rest of them, they can't make these kinds of mistakes. That, like, the deep, shallow point that you're making, Sarah, is, like, it's even greater than that, right? It's like, Donald Trump they don't just have a deep relationship with him. Like, he is part of them. They are one. They have his crucifix above their dinner table. Okay, they're not going to blame him. All right, over this sort of thing. And the reason why I could tie you back to my night sweats. The other thing about this that's frustrating is that again, he's not just in the right place about this. Like, he's showing correct political instincts where all the other Republicans are wrong. It's the same as the UAW thing. Right? Like, yeah. Tim Scott is out there and he's like, fire the workers for striking. And Trump's like, I'm going to speak to the workers. And people are like, Tim Scott is the normie. And it's like, well, really? I mean, Trump is closer to the median viewpoint about this. Like, Tim Scott might be more normal in his well, Tim Scott's maybe a bad example. He's been acting very weird lately. But Nikki Haley might be more closer to the normal in her personal behavior. But Donald Trump is closer to the median voter on this, and so I think this is why there's good reason to be concerned about like that once again, like he is showing better aptitude than the rest of the party, when it comes to the controversial issues.
It's the Mike Pence stuff, right? I mean, so the Susan B. Anthony list, all the pro-life Inc. people are very upset. They, one of them told Semaphore, this is a great thing, that, Trump in this cycle is just, he's acting like he's done with pro-lifers, that we had somewhat of a transactional relationship, and that transaction is now over. And, this anonymous person who is anonymous, like harumphs, we're going to show him.
You don't say. You made a transactional relationship with Donald Trump. Oh, really?
You are to pro-life voters as Mike Pence was to evangelical voters. He doesn't need you anymore. And you know what? When he wins the nomination, you're going to come rolling back to him just as eager. You're going to endorse him no matter what. You're going to spend a bunch of money supporting him. And he knows it.
Yeah, but also he gets to say correctly to them, who gave you the Roe v. Wade overturning of your dreams? Who gave you your 3 justices? And then they go, yeah, that's true. Like, he can have it both ways on this one.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Biden team, this is a funny response to this. Like, the Biden team's correct. He can kind of have it both ways in the primary, right?
Yeah.
I think the Biden team will be able to correctly, kind of point out that, oh, okay, well, Donald Trump, you might think it's terrible that Ron DeSantis went to 6 weeks, but he only was able to do that because you, right? Like that's the only reason that it happened. Because so you did that. Like, so you can try to back off it. Like, so I think they can prosecute that case against him in a way that might be workable. A funny aside about that is that Biden has started to do that this week, and Eric Erickson, some of these guys are like, the Biden team is helping Trump with pro-lifers, and it's like, no, like, you guys just don't understand the dynamics here. Like, Trump is fine with pro-lifers. He doesn't need them anymore, as JVL said. He can try to now tack back and appeal, and now Biden and him can fight over that turf, where obviously I think Biden's in a stronger position.
Here's a real question, though, for you guys. Why couldn't Trump say, yes, I appointed those 3 perfect justices and they overturned Roe v. Wade, which was a terrible law. Everybody knows that it was a terrible law and wanted it overturned. And so now we can finally have a compromise. That's what this is, the art of the deal. You got to find a compromise where everybody likes it and is happy. And you know what? Those laws down in Texas where they're trying to arrest women driving through their counties, that's terrible. I don't support that. And when you put me in office, because the Republicans will do whatever I tell them to, believe me, they'll do what I tell them to. We're going to sign a great compromise that's going to make everybody happy. Why won't that work?
I agree with you, actually. I think running on abortion against Trump is going to be much harder than Democrats think.
Yeah.
I think it would be much more effective against DeSantis or any other candidate than it will be against Trump.
Which is another thing. Remember, Dems have been telling themselves that Dobbs will save us. No, it won't.
I agree that it'll be harder than running against DeSantis on that issue. But
I
don't know that it's
case.
not. I think Roe v. Wade was still very Roe v. Wade still is very popular, and I think that this argument that you're making, from Trump, I think he'll be able to get over on people for whom abortion is not the motivating issue. Right, for people who your Barstool Bros, your men. Your non-college Black and Hispanic men who are really more with Biden on this, but it's not their strong issue. I do think it will continue to hurt him with, some of the groups that it hurt Republicans with in the midterms, though.
I do think Democrats, Republicans have been very good at making the Supreme Court a dominant issue for their sort of low propensity, or not low propensity, but people who maybe weren't enthusiastic about Donald Trump. That was the big rationalization, was the courts. And I think that is where Joe Biden can make a real pitch to sort of progressives and people who are down on him or just not feeling, super strongly that we have to protect the Supreme Court because look at what they've done. And I think litigating it that way can be effective.
Yeah, I think a good line for Joe Biden might be, Clarence Thomas is going to die sometime, guys. You guys think I'm old, but that guy's old too. So,
I don't know, Sarah. Isn't that hard, though, because Biden has not done anything that the progressives wanted him to do with the court? I mean, this is one of the, a lot of people, a lot of people, I think, very sensibly say
that wasn't a joke.
Biden should be tacking
more
to the center.
He nominated Ketanji Brown Jackson.
No, I know,
he hasn't packed the court, or
he hasn't packed the court. Like he hasn't delegitimized the court.
Yeah,
right. And I do worry that in the same way that a lot of people say, oh, Biden needs to be tacking more to the center, do more for working class voters and more populist. That's true, but he does have to worry about. I mean, politics is the art of the possible. He does have a liberal chunk of his coalition that he has to keep minimally on board. And I worry that maybe he wouldn't be able to keep them minimally on board.
I don't think that's right, and here's why.
Maybe not.
So, no, the reason I don't feel that way is that, like, Joe Biden is not people. I don't think anybody could have beaten Trump in 2016 other than Joe Biden, right? But I also think that's not true in 2024.
Also true in 2020.
I don't think that's true in 2024. But regardless, because this is where we are, and people should stop living in a fantasy land like it's going to be somebody else. I think that what Joe Biden is doing is not forming a pro-Joe Biden coalition. Joe Biden needs to form an anti-Trump coalition, which, again, this is why the no labels thing is so scary, because it fractures the anti-Trump coalition. Yep. And so I do think that voters, like progressive voters, this is going to be one of those things where Donald Trump will be a big both get out the vote and also get people over the hump. Like, once they are confronted with a Donald Trump, Joe Biden rematch, people are going to want to stave off disaster, and Joe Biden is the only tool to do that. Not calling him a tool, I'm saying
I agree with that.
Ears.
Other people, eventually normies will start to have the same night tremors that I'm having.
Yeah.
Right? And hopefully that'll,
Fingers crossed. Okay, so we got some actual governing stuff happening. We've got Volodymyr Zelensky at the UN, Biden at the UN, then Zelensky coming to the White House. I guess we're going to shut down the government because Lauren Boebert likes giving handies. Or are those two things related at all? No?
They're slightly related in the sense that Republicans in the House are complete lunatics, as Congressman Waller, a Republican congressman, noted.
Well, do you have to be a lunatic to want to give a handy during Beetlejuice the musical? I don't know if that's necessary. Like, she is a lunatic. I just don't know if her lunacy is necessarily related to the Beetlejuice the musical.
I disagree with
job.
that. I disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think there's anybody with their head on straight that would also be interested in giving a hand job during Beetlejuice the musical?
Maybe. I do think that they were like in a very public place, and that wasn't like the most discreet thing. And then she was also vaping on top of it. Like, this was like calling a lot of attention to oneself. And also,
I kind of wish it had been at a really serious play, so that it would have been like the Seinfeld making out in the back of Schindler's List. Like, if she had been like doing this heavy petting during Les Mis or something, right? They'd be like, "Come on, what are you doing? How could you do that during Les Mis?"
I think Beetlejuice the musical is highbrow for Lauren Boebert. I think she thought she was at a highbrow play.
I did not know they had made a musical out of Beetlejuice, which I got to say, as a lover of musicals and as somebody who watched Beetlejuice quite a bit as a child, never did I think to myself, you know what they should do? Make this into a Broadway musical.
I'm so upset. I've derailed us, but my mother and my father have season passes to the Buell Theater. And as soon as I saw this clip, I immediately texted them. And I was like, tell me you were there. Tell me you were there. And they had tickets, but my mother has a friend who, unlike Sarah, is much more up to date, apparently, on the more recent musical fare. And my mother's friend was loved the Beetlejuice musical. Which is maybe that it's because it's good. I have no idea, so no judgment based on that. But so they've given them away, and I was like, so close. You're so close to having been there for the handy scene around the world. Can I
just say though, there's this part of me. I'm not rushing to Lauren Boebert's defense, and I'm certainly not taking the position that Tim is, which is that this is just a thing sometimes people do in theaters. But the amount of like. When I opened Twitter after that happened, that video, it was just one wall of that video. Like, I scrolled and just kept seeing Lauren Boebert get felt up and grabbing this guy. And a lot of people were making this joke about how one time she talked about being driven to her knees or whatever. And I'm going to sound like the girl on the podcast right now. Donald Trump paid off a prostitute. He has been accused of sexual assault all of these times, and he is the trashiest, vilest, most disgusting person, and people are like, right on. Yeah. Like, and people, even people who hate him, don't really hang around his trash bagginess around him. Like, that's not where they go. But for Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, that is, and Kristi Noem, right? They've like all had these sort of real sexual, and I think that they are all related. Like I think Donald Trump's complete absence or whatever the negative version is of sexual morality is now like the standard fare in the Republican Party. But I do think these Republican women, especially by Democrats, are being treated differently than the way Donald Trump gets treated. Not especially by Democrats, but just kind of by everybody, like normies.
I agree with that.
Maybe. I mean, isn't
So
it
it's worth
sort of a
making fun of.
hope that for some reason, because like Lauren Boebert doesn't have her own cult, that maybe this will stick against her? I mean, maybe this isn't any club at hand. And the reason people have stopped trying it with Trump is because it's clear that it just doesnn't work, right? Voters have decided
Maybe,
they
but
don't
like
care.
Madison Cawthorn, it was like, well, he's gay.
Gay.
It was like the gay stuff, and like the women, and they're all trashy and disgusting. Like it's not that absence of it. It's that I think it's being celebrated, or Trump has been a positive for him as this. It doesn't hurt him at all.
Let me defend Lauren Boebert a little bit further. As somebody who is near the Great White Way, who is a lover of the theater, weird shit happens in theater audiences all the time. We had a thing happening on Broadway not long ago where somebody was pooping in the aisles during shows, and nobody knew how this was happening. That there was just like, it happened dozens of times. And like the intermission, the lights would come up and there'd be a pile of poop right in the middle of the aisle. There was a serial secret
Is it
pooper.
pitch black in your theater? Like it's not like in a theater you can't visibly.
I was not there. I'm just telling you that maybe we should view Representative Boebert's actions in a wider context of it's not so bad. And if she wants to vape a little and have a little bit of heavy petting time, like that is not outside of the norms that we do see in the theater. There.
I think the problem with the vaping was really that she was sort of trying to shut it down, and she fought with them over it. Listen, I'm not saying this is not
Do
a trashy...
you know who I am? It's like,
yeah.
ma'am,
I'm not saying
what are
she's
you
not
wearing?
completely trashy. And she should resign. Like, she should resign over this. Lots of people. But, like, my point is that it is a broader problem in the Republican Party of nobody caring about morality, decency, decorum, any of those things. Also, and, like, having no shame. Tim Miller, also, though, somebody who has no decorum, who thinks that people in the Senate should be able to wear whatever baggy gym shorts that they want. Let's do it.
We'll do the government shutdown later. Let's fucking do this right now.
Yeah.
By the way, really quick, people should
Boebert and Fetterman.
People should donate to Adam Frisch. But let's do this.
People should donate to Adam Frisch. I'm going to
state my position. So for people who have not followed my ex as closely as you have, I'm going to state my position, and then you can judge me. People should wear whatever they goddamn please in the Senate. And not only should people wear whatever they goddamn please, we shouldn't have dress codes for the Senate. It's ridiculous to have dress codes for the Senate. The whole point of the American experiment...
President Camacho agrees.
Yeah, the whole point of the American experiment is that we overthrew the royalty, the kings and queens, and all of their bullshit. Our representatives are just people. They are plumbers, they are farmers, they are policemen, they're firemen, they're whatever. They're bankers. They are representatives of the people.
They're just really rich white dudes.
Okay, but aspirationally, our offices, our elected officials are representatives of the people. They're not special. They're not lords and ladies. They do not get on a knee, and we do not put a sword on top of them. We overthrew the fuckers that thought about that. And this is a long-held rant of mine, way before Fetterman, that we should stop with this fake. With all, there's a reason that George Washington said he wanted to be called Mr. President, not his. John Adams wanted to call him His Excellency or something, and George Washington was like, no, I want to be Mr. President. I'm a representative of the people, and then when I leave, I go back to being one of the people. That is how our system should be. And if the people want to wear fucking sweatpants on the House floor, they should. And they should stop for stoplights, and they should be treated just like all of the rest of us. Okay, some of them might need security because we have a lot of insane people out there right now. But besides that, they should be treated with like all of the rest of us, and we should stop with this faux haughty, vestigial or aristocratic bullshit. So that's my take.
Sarah, tear this dude apart.
Yeah. So, Tim, if you owned a business of some kind. I don't know what business you own.
I did, actually, for a little
literally
while.
be any kind of business. And you had employees.
Yeah.
And those employees, let's say the job wasn't like cleaning up trash cans. But it was, a thing that you had customers that you wanted them to sort of take you seriously as a professional.
Yeah, sure.
And they showed up in gym shorts and T-shirts. Now, I think that if you say right now that you would have no problem with that, you're lying. Because people who do jobs, like grown-up people, right? I'm talking about like adult people. What adults do is that they put on clothes to reflect the seriousness of whatever it is they're doing in their endeavors. And
no boss.
The people
Sarah, don't do anymore.
The people
crushing
who are
him.
Keep going.
The people who are in the Senate and the House of Representatives should operate as though they are doing an important job for the people. And they should dress like the job that they have impacts people's lives, not like they're on their way to a pickup basketball game. Now, listen, I am not asking them to wear powdered wigs, and I myself am a dress-down enthusiast. Right now, I'm wearing a blazer, a little shirt, jeans, and little kicky shoes, but nothing with heels.
No tech
I don't
vest?
like that, okay? And so I don't expect that they have to show up every day in, dinner attire, right? Like a three-piece suit or a tux. All I'm asking for is that they don't dress like they're on their way to coach a Little League game while they are holding votes on whether or not we fund Ukraine to support other democracies in the world so that they can be taken seriously by their colleagues and their constituents.
I have 2 points, then we can move on. I just want to defend my honor for whatever it's worth. This was different than working at there's no customer-facing thing, but I do just want to say this.
We are customers.
I have been the boss before. I was a boss at a PR firm. I had a young woman who came into my office all nervous one day, and she will vouch for me on this, and she said, "Tim, I would like to dye my hair purple." And she was like, "Do you have a problem with that? Is that going to be an issue?" And I was like, "No, it's no fucking issue." I was like, it's I can't believe that you felt like you had to come in here. And she was so relieved and she was so excited because I was like, who cares? We're a PR firm. If you want to dye your hair purple, you should dye your hair purple. That seems fine to me. And so that's just me. I don't think it matters. I think everybody should be their authentic selves. As far as your point about the House floor, again, we have a democratic system. If the people are that upset about it, they can vote them out. Somebody can run against him, and they can make their whole campaign about the fact that they wear suits and tuxes, and they think that he's disrespectful. But he was the mayor, and he was lieutenant governor, and he dressed like a schlub then, and then they put him in the Senate. So for me, it's it doesn't seem to me like it matters that much to people. But
and you know what? If Fetterman was sort of doing this, whatever, the question is about whether they change the rules for everybody, so the entire institution now dresses
the rules were stupid.
Like a gym teacher. The
Here we
rules
go,
are stupid.
The rules were stupid.
The rules. So some of the rules are stupid, right? The idea that women have to cover their arms.
Dumb. That was stupid.
But you know what? This is kind of this is not an incremental shift. This is going from women must wear pantyhose to, hey guys, no need for pants. No need for pants at all.
No shoes,
Senator John
no
Fetterman.
shirts,
I would just like to say
no
what Tim has
votes.
defended here is not wearing pants in the Senate and giving handjobs in theaters, both of which I think is behavior that is unwelcome, though not equivalent. I would just like to say
I'm
not
for giving
equivalent.
handjobs in the theater. I was just saying I think that there are people who give handjobs in the theaters who are not necessarily lunatics. That's all I was saying. Anyway,
all right, listen, we got to keep moving.
That was not on the
on
show.
track.
There was no
track.
prep.
I'm going to be Kristen Welker.
There was no prep there. That was all off the show
Quote
notes.
from Senator John Fetterman. This is actually a beautiful transition. If those jagoffs in the House stop trying to shut our government down and fully support Ukraine, then I will save democracy by wearing a suit on the Senate floor next week. God bless you, Big John. So that brings us to the shutdown. Finally, we can talk about the shutdown. It's going to happen, and I just assume it's going to be bad for Biden and the Democrats. Sarah, tell me I'm wrong.
So I don't think you're exactly wrong. I think that it is dangerous because what happens is people are not reading Punchbowl. They are not reading Politico. They're going to look up and say, oh, the government's shutting down and I'm not going to get my check. Who do I blame? And their first reach might be for Joe Biden. I will say the one difference this time is that Republicans have done an unbelievable job of making sure to hang around their own necks. No, we did this in a way that I'm not sure they ever have before. In fact, there's a bunch of people who are going to be very proud of it on the Republican side. They're going to own it. And so I worry about things like this because I worry about the general perception of chaos, because I think the general perception of chaos is sort of bad for Biden. That said, like I said, I think Republicans, though, are taking some of the bite out of that by just making it real clear they're doing this.
This is Mike Lawler, one of the moderate-ish Republicans who's in a Biden district. Here's what he says about this. This is stupidity. The idea that we're going to shut the government down when we don't control the Senate, we don't control the White House. These people can't define a win. They don't know how to take yes for an answer. It's a clown show. You keep running lunatics, you're going to be in this position. So I think that is going to help, to Sarah's point, as the crazy Republicans hang a lantern around themselves and they say, we did this, and then the Mike Lawler Republicans go out there and say, yeah, they did this. I do think that's going to challenge, the more traditional kind of shutdown fight ability of both parties to blame it on the other side. I don't think people have really come to terms with the fact that it's going to happen. McCarthy doesn't have a path out besides getting Democratic votes, which he refuses to do. And Matt Gaetz, I think strategically, left in the bathroom, his motion to vacate McCarthy. Which was possible that Matt Gaetz was just pulling a Boebert in the bathroom or doing something and forgot his motion to vacate. But I think it's probably likely that he did that as a threat kind of thing,
figuring that people will fight. Baby changing table, which is a little on the nose, it's time to change the shit.
You think he was jerking it to his own motion to vacate?
Maybe he was jerking it to his own motion to vacate, but I think more likely it was brand. He figured people would see it.
Looked in the mirror with his motion to vacate right in front of him.
To me, it seems like a Matt Gaetz move to be I figure people will see this. But had it as a threat. But with September 20th, so we're 11 days away, and they're not even. They have nothing, right? So the partial shutdown is certainly going to happen, and I think that McCarthy's only way out of it is, I guess in theory they could pass something that the crazies want, and then try to belatedly put the pressure on the Democrats in the Senate to come to the table and all that, but the damage might be already done by then.
Well, counterpoint to the normie, are you just
Mike Lawler?
What if maybe they can just listen to the crazies and keep winning anyway? I mean, I just think that's possible. Okay, Bob Corker. We had a Bob Corker interview.
You don't want to do Zelensky before you do Corker? I thought you teased
we
Zelensky.
got to go, man. We are on the clock. We have
long.
A heart out here. You got to go teach young, impressionable children.
I do. But it was pretty great. Can we just have a moment, though? It's nice when we have a moment of moral clarity from the President of the United States at the UN, a president that's not a total embarrassment. I was with Chris Matthews in the green room, name drop, and he was talking about how one of Biden's problems is that you need, this is such a Chris Matthews take, you need a strong voice to be a president, and Biden sometimes voice is too limp. And I thought that was interesting. He said that to me in the morning, and then a couple hours later, I was watching Biden yelling his speech at the UN. So I don't know, maybe Chris has an in at the White House, but Biden seems strong, literally and figuratively, at the UN.
He's going to get a lot of credit from voters about that too, I'm sure.
Having Zelensky was there, and he's going to be in Congress. I know he will be in a T-shirt, and he's the great hero of our time, and he seemed to manage to lead a nation in a T-shirt and do so inspirationally.
But not shorts. He's not wearing basketball shorts.
But anyway, I think that's great. That's all I wanted to say. You teased it, and I felt like since nobody's going to mention it, it's nice that we had a moment of moral clarity from the president.
This is a thing that is A, very important, B, very salient, C, Biden is doing a very good job of, and D, Republicans, and particularly Trump, are insane about.
Yeah.
And it registers precisely...
It's registering.
Nothing.
It's registering.
Is it?
I think.
All right.
Sarah,
Bob Corker.
Is it registering your
Sarah,
prescription?
you're giving me death stares.
No, I'm not. I'm actually thinking about the way Zelensky dressed and how people freaked out last time that he wasn't wearing a suit. But I got to say, he looks good when he's dressing like the commander, like a warrior, and it's projecting something important. It's projecting something important. Shame, Tim Miller, because your clothes project something important. When you got an important job to do.
Too.
John Fetterman's clothes project that he's a yinzer. Right? He's one of yins. Come on, Sarah. I'm trying here. Get nothing. All right, last try.
Corker.
Bob Corker
I got
gives an
so
interview
pissed
with
about this,
Politico
and
where he talks about how great his life is after the Senate, and he's just out there wheeling and dealing and making tons of money and playing golf with famous people, and it's great.
I want to
I'm
kill
just
Bob
like,
Corker after
wow,
reading this article.
thanks, dude.
Here's the headline. The headline is, a moderate anti-Trump Republican who got fed up with the Senate has retirement advice for Mitt Romney. I was like, oh, that was an intriguing headline for me. It's like maybe there's some advice about how Mitt Romney could make a difference from the outside and help nudge the party towards sanity, or maybe help support the current president of the United States, who's the last man standing between us and the end of the longest continuously running democracy in the world. No, that was not his advice, actually. Here's Bob Corker in an interview with Ian Ward. Ward asks, you and Senator Romney were seen as some of the last remaining moderate Republican critics of Trump in the Senate. Does his retirement mark the end of an era? That's Ward. Corker, I don't know. I don't pay a lot of attention to what each senator is doing or not these days, but he obviously... Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me just do one thing. Inaudible yelling. Hey, sorry about that, Ian. That's Kix Brooks. He's a country singer down here in Tennessee, and I'm over in Nashville on business. I'm going to play golf with him. So that's part of the transcript here. And then
Sarah, I'm glad you're keeping yourself up at night trying to save democracy. You keep doing that. Senator Corker is going to be out on the links.
And then we get down here, finally, the final question. So do you have any nuggets of wisdom to share with Senator Romney as he plans for his post-Senate life? Take this time before committing to something to make sure it's something you really want to do. He'll be hit with lots of opportunities. I know I was. But wait a year. Because if you make a decision that takes you down a road, it takes time to unravel that. And then you burn up a lot of your productive life pursuing something that is not the right thing. So close to getting it. He's so close to getting it. It's right. You could burn up a lot of your you could burn up a lot of your productive life pursuing something that is not the right thing. Couldn't you, Bob Corker? You piece of shit who's spending time golfing with C-list country singers and lobbying instead of actually trying to do something to save the country from this deranged lunatic that ran you out of the Senate? Maybe you could do something productive. The Bulwark Reddit people posted this thing. I don't think I would have seen it because nobody cares what Bob Corker thinks, so I don't think I would have seen this interview otherwise. And my blood pressure is skyrocketing again.
Maybe, Sarah, you can tell me whether I'm off base or not. Maybe Senator Corker has just been deepening his practice and has come to accept the things he cannot change. And he, like me, has come to understand that, look, the citizens of this country are going to do what they're going to do. Why shouldn't he just make a lot of money and play golf so that if they do something bad, it can't affect him?
What's the Martin Luther King quotation? It's like, it won't be like the hostility of our enemies, but the silence of our friends that will do us in. And I think that, look, Corker joins the ranks. I mean, I haven't heard anything from our friend down in Arizona, Jeff Flake.
Jeff Flake, yeah.
Many
He's
of the people...
ambassador to Turkey, just hanging out in Ankara.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's an important job.
George W. Bush. I mean, I am Condoleezza Rice. I think one of the deepest failures, like it's not even the anti-antis, although they are a very deep failure. But the way that people decided just to let somebody else have the fight and to go live the good life, and stay in their tribe and on their team and hang out at the club, and that's just what's crazy to me too. It's like, at least if that's going to be your life, go and this, I shouldn't lump Jeff Flake in because he did go out in a blaze of glory, right? Yep. And at least he said the right thing on the way out. And the whole bunch of them didn't, right? A whole bunch of them didn't. And
I'll throw some other names out there.
Yeah.
How about the Committee to Save America? I was talking about this on TV. Like Nicole Wallace had this thing on Friday where she's like, there's a red flashing light blinking right now. This is maybe what caused my nightmares. And I feel like no one is speaking out about it, right? I mean, where's John Kelly, Jim Mattis? Where are, none of these, everybody, H.R. McMaster, Dina Powell's helping her husband run for Senate again, I guess, on the same ticket as Donald Trump. Nothing. they're all just doing their own version of the Bob Corker thing.
And like maybe we'll be wrong and they'll all come out and endorse Biden. Well, Dina Powell won't. But maybe some of them. I mean, like, if I were George W. Bush, you're not gonna say anything. But like the fact that they don't say anything during the Republican primary,
Right?
And is like, I don't understand. I'll never understand this part. I'll never understand this part.
Rex Tillerson? Where's Rex? He doesn't have a political
And they could
career.
all jump together. They could all do this together.
Do a letter. Sarah Longwell Partners will organize it. Write a letter. You know? Do a
I really
joint
would
interview.
organize it. I would really like to do this.
Joint
Send them out
interview,
there to say it to
60
everybody
minutes.
all the time.
Yeah. It's fucking people. Bob Corker can eat a dick. Not in a good
show.
way.
Long show. More dick content than we've ever had on this show between Lauren
Not my
Boebert and
preferred.
Matt Gaetz and Bob Corker. Sorry about that, Sarah. We should
sorry
have
about
saved
that,
this
people
for
with
an episode where
children in the
Sonny was
car.
sitting in for you.
Yeah, seriously. Hey, did you guys see Matt Gaetz is going to run for governor of Florida?
Yeah.
Against Byron Donalds. We're really sending our best to the Florida governorship.
Unreal.
He'll win, right?
And Byron will be a tough competitor.
Hey, you know what happens after you're governor of Florida? You get to run for president. America, get your head around this. At some point in the next 8 years, Matt Gaetz is going to run for president.
I think Byron. I'm taking Byron in that head-to-head. We can mark the
Really?
mark
Sarah,
the
what
clock
I don't
on
know.
If someone
Matt
were to
Gaetz
offer you
is a
some
really
sweet
big
action
forehead.
here,
I don't know if I'd go head-to-head with him.
give me your if you had to put $5 on this, who would you take? Byron or Gaetz?
I might take Byron too. I don't know enough about him yet. Here's the thing though. Guess what? Matt Gaetz is one of the worst, most despicable people out there. But like, both of them are big Donald Trump supporters, and both of them, I mean, like, it's not like there's like so much daylight. Like, there's, I mean,
Casey
there
DeSantis
is some,
could be
but-
in there too. Casey could do it. And, we could have quite a showdown.
Oh,
Yeah.
please God, yes.
Casey's got a
Please
future,
let Casey
probably.
DeSantis run for governor of Florida. That would be amazing. Part of me would almost like to see Casey elected president just for the humiliation of Ron that would create. Like, I might die from Schadenfreude. Okay, guys, good show, long show. Remember, focus group coming on Saturday. Before you get out of here, if you are on YouTube, hit the subscribe button to the main Bulwark feed because we're going to be switching out of the Next Level feed soon.
Sarah's hosting
Bye.
Thursday Night Bulwark tomorrow. Sarah is
hosting, yeah.
hosting Thursday Night Bulwark for Bulwark Plus members only. Sign up.
And I will do this Saw focus group murder room if enough of you pay me. Bye.
via subscriptions.
Bye.